Audio check, audio check. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Good morning, Pedro Garcia. I see you there joining in. Not using StreamYard today, so I don't have an easy guest way in. Morning, Chuck. Morning from, oh, I forget. Is it Oklahoma? Kansas? Jason's from Kansas. You're from Oklahoma. I'll be with you in 1 second, people. There are 3 sirens going by the global headquarters of the DYOR Media Network. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking in this digital media world. Today is Friday, March 24th, and I'm getting off a little late today for a couple of reasons, one of which was my daughter's birthday. So I had her off last night, or had her last night and this morning. Took her to school this morning, made her a little breakfast this morning. So thought I'd trade a half hour of my personal life for all you millions of viewers out there. Well, it's Friday. I've been on all week. I had a show Monday, had a show Tuesday, show Wednesday. Didn't have a show yesterday for DYOR Live, but I did an AMA at 10 a.m. For Audit Chain, our primary sponsor of this channel. And then today I'm coming back with you, trying to break that YouTube algorithm open. We went bonkers for like a year, and then the past year, our subscriber base is like done crap. Best way to say that. And the viewership hasn't done well. Admittingly, I'm on sporadically. And I was talking to someone in the YouTube world about it, and they said, man, you got to go on live every day. Oh, go on live every day and see what you can drum up. So I've been doing that, and I bring in kind of the morning news talk style to you. A couple of shows ago, I had the DYOR project CEO Jason in the house. While he was listening while driving to work, and I thought to myself, that's a good plan. Be on early when people are driving to work. Perhaps they will listen to you. But today I'm on most of the country. I'm on at 9:30 in the morning. So unless your drive from work involves your feet going from your bedroom to the other side of your bedroom to work, or maybe if you're lucky, you can remote work from your kitchen or dining room. It's another story. But we have a good topics for you today. Generally, the show has been, this week, I'm concentrating on just me sitting up here talking about topics, kind of getting my legs back here doing this. And then as the weeks kind of go on here, I'll start bringing guests on live. I do have our Telegram set up in the DYOR project instead of the Striking Crypto Smackdown room, the DYOR project. So if you want to chat, talk about something, join the DYOR project's Telegram. And I will be able to hear you, and so will the world. Also, no matter how hard you try, having a teenager in the house means you get every nasty thing that they have. Excuse me. Well, the theme for today, if you liked my headline, is the Gubment is coming. And I specifically used the term Gubment instead of government because that is the, I don't know, we'll call it the typical, we'll just be frank, the typical dipshit way of explaining and worrying about our government and types like that. So I thought I'd be a little bit more controversial on my thumbnail and title because it seems to get more views. It's amazing how quickly you say, hey, that clickbait stuff works. Anyway, let's see who's in the house today. I was talking to a couple of people before we went live. Chuck Jansen, good morning. DYOR, our crypto specialist. Pedro Garcia is in the house. Thank you, Pedro, for tuning in. Pedro, I don't know if you noticed that you're still on my intro as the guest analyst. I needed space, so I used you. They're so long, and when I deleted some other people that were not guests or left the team, you stayed on. What's up, brother? Oh, I just did that one. Chuck says, oh, that's the audio check. This is the one I meant to say. Chuck says, good morning. I can't click well this morning. Good morning. Good morning from Oklahoma. What else we got here? Pedro says, awesome. I love the comments. I really do. Although they're not formatted well. And I'm here when you need me. All right, Pedro. For sure. I do this a couple of months ago when I tried to start going live again before I got bogged down with work. I tried to do a segment. We lost our TA guy that was part of the team, our technical analysis guy. And so I said, hey, Pedro, can you do it for me? And I came up with the moniker. We're going to do 5-minute. Pedro, don't be offended. But you can talk. I can sit up here and talk for an hour, but Pedro, he can talk forever because he's so passionate about technical analysis in the stock market and the crypto market and over the counter and everything that you can chart. And I said, Pedro, we don't have 15, 20 minutes to talk about what's coming up for the week. We've got 5 minutes. And Pedro's like, oh my God, I can't explain anything in 5 minutes. I've got too much information packed in here. So I tried to guide him down into it, and it turned into a bit, as they say, called Cinco de Pedro. Doesn't really make sense in Spanish, but it applies on the American sayings of Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Pedro sounds good. So I'll have Pedro, you'll be on in the future again to do 5 minutes of TA as soon as I can start actually scheduling these things well in advance. But back to the topic at hand, the government's coming for you. Kind of the theme all week has been things that have been going wrong with crypto, things that have been, we'll say, the fallout stemming all the way from the Luna blow up. And there's a good article on LinkedIn today. I wish I had been prepared to talk about it. And it traces the original crashing of the Luna system to where it affected 3AC, all the way through FTX, Gemini, and the whole interconnected web of crypto leverage, as they say, all the way down through the banking crisis of today. And while the banking crisis of today is not directly related to crypto, meaning FTX didn't cause Silicon Valley Bank to fail, it was just one of those added things in the market once liquidity started tightening that made additional problems for the banks. And so I've been talking about all week the problems with the banking industry, the problems with crypto, kind of why these things happened, and I'll give that a quick summary here in a minute. But where that's leading to all these problems is those problems tend to manifest themselves in overreactions from the government. I shouldn't say just the U.S. government. I should say any government. And you see, if you follow the news a lot, you see a lot of people reporting from each country, frankly, the draconian laws coming out saying we have to control this crypto because see what it caused. And the banks are just flatly blaming crypto for it. And Sam Bankman-Fried is like the evil person of all time, caused my poor $800 trillion bank to fail. And it culminated, all of this culminated in yesterday's, where is it? Oh, I've got the wrong thing on the background here. It culminated in the president's, the economic report to the president, or of the president to Congress. And the president is charged every so often with providing a report to Congress about the economy. And yesterday that happened, or 2 days ago. I can't remember which day it happened. And it wasn't good for those of us in crypto. No. And it basically came out and said there's nothing good in crypto. It's worthless. It's evil. There's no utility in it at all. Nobody wants to use it, really. They're just playing in it, and old people are losing all their money, which we know is not true, which we know is all BS. Hold on, let me get the pop-out chats going here so I can monitor this better. I don't have to look at this screen. So anyway, sorry about that. Just trying to get my my work process for doing all this is kind of still a little rough. But anyway, the economic report to the president said crypto is no good. There's no utility for it. There's nothing. Even the payments industry is supposed to revolutionize payments. That's not working. It's not an investment. It's nothing. Just one big Ponzi scheme scam. It couldn't have been more wrong. However, you can see a coordinated effort by the government. And further, I made this post on LinkedIn, and it was got a lot of traction. That this all started with the banks lobbying members of Congress. First, it started banks lobbying kind of the aides in congressional offices said this, about a year ago. We got to have some hearings. We'd like to participate, and crypto is bad. And they glommed onto Senator Warren, Senator Menendez in New Jersey. Man, I can't remember the lady's name that used to run the House Banking and Urban Housing Committee, House Financial Services Committee, Representative Maxine Walters, and they had troped guests into hearings, that came in and said there is nothing good about crypto. It has no utility. And literally, people testifying in front of Congress. I might add, many of them lied to Congress, which is not good. That there's absolutely no utility to Congress when these same people were on, or utility for crypto, when these same people were on other shows prior to that saying, yeah, well, it's used for this, and this. It's very interesting. But anyway, I digress. So it started with those hearings, and then we all watched them say, this is crazy. People can't say there's no utility. It's revolutionizing the payments industry. Even companies like Western Union or MoneyGram, one of those big ones, has said, we're scrapping the way we do cash settlements, and we're switching to blockchain technology. And we're going to use crypto for that. It's so much faster. 24-hour-a-day settlement to cash versus waiting for the banks to open. This is ridiculous. So we're going to use that. Small businesses around the world are paying people in crypto. And one of the things in the economic report, I just need to bring that up. No, it's too difficult. I'll screw something up. One of the things in the president's economic report said that there's no, they're revolutionizing the payments business. It said nobody wants to use it for payments because the volatility is crypto so much. If you own crypto and used to pay for it, maybe tomorrow your money's 50% down. They never said maybe tomorrow your money's 50% up either. But that's not the point. People use crypto to pay people because it's fast and cheap. And you only, like, example, I use this example all the time. I paid a kid in Croatia to do some video work for me. So it was $500. I use this example all the time. You guys are probably getting sick of it. Good morning, John. Sorry, we got the DYOR team member John on our LinkedIn feed. So I paid. He said, "How do you want to get paid?" And he just said, "Send me crypto." I said, "No problem. What do you want?" And he told me the crypto. I think it was XLM. He said, "Send me XLM. It's fast and cheap." I said, "No problem." So I had US dollars in my account. I think I had a BUSD or something like that. Boop, bought some XLM. Pressed the button to send. He got it, and he told me. I said, "Hey, did you get the XLM?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "My app, exchange app, automatically changes all incoming crypto payments to this particular wallet into fiat and deposit it in my bank." And so, in the period of about a minute and a half, I converted US dollars to XLM, sent it. He received the XLM, and it was automatically converted into euros. So the exposure to crypto there, or any volatility whatsoever, is very low. I think you have more exposure sending a wire transfer and having that bank go bankrupt or going insolvent in the time that they're processing your wire transfer than you do with crypto. So my point with going on about that is that the old people in Washington, meaning the president, are out of touch. He was just visiting Ottawa, Canada, my other home, and he's old. I can't see him running for re-election. He's not. He says he's 80. He's 95 years old, or he's 104. And so he leaves this to his people to do this. And if he doesn't check on them, they're susceptible to lobbyists. Sure enough, all of this comes out in the economic report saying crypto is bad. And like that, as soon as this report comes out, we have Coinbase getting the Wells letter from. Oh, I had the article up. This website must auto refresh. Oh, now it's not even updating. Come on, guys. There we go. It's just slow. Technology. This guy, Gary Gensler. I don't know why this isn't working right. Give me 1 second here to get my crap together here. Yeah. Sorry, my synchronization was off here. Anyway, Gensler at the SEC is going to put the hammer down on Coinbase. Said they're trading unregulated securities. They're doing all kinds of bad things. And the government is taking the regulation by enforcement position. And if you've listened to my podcasts with Audit Chain, you will have heard Audit Chain's lead architect, Jason Myers, talk about the bank's role in all of this and how they pull the strings at the SEC because it's a revolving door of employment. People with banks go work for the SEC, they get experience in government, they come back, and it's a revolving door. And so ultimately, the SEC, if not overtly, just by bias from previous employment, kind of do what the banks want them to do. And that is to control everything and all of your money. And one of the things you need to realize is that I've been trying to flesh this out on LinkedIn. If any of you guys listening, either live or in the replay, find my post about a question. The market cap of crypto has increased from on Christmas 2022. It was $760 billion. Last time I got a cold on the air, everyone accused me of doing cocaine on the air. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I digress. It was $760 billion at Christmas time. As of last night, it was $1.2 trillion, a difference of $440 billion. That's a lot. And that means the market cap has gone up in crypto, $440 billion. And we know, those of you listening to me not and play around in crypto a lot, that doesn't mean $440 million came in. It's not the market cap is not a zero-sum game. Liquidity pools are a zero-sum game. $1 in, $1 out. Market cap has a leverage factor because of the price ratio and the liquidity value ratio. And that's a 24-hour channel just explaining that. But there's an actual dollar value that people took out of banks and put into crypto over the past 3 months. And it could be as much as $200 billion. If the market cap went up $444 billion, then it's likely $150 to $200 billion in cash moved into crypto and took it out of the banking system. What's going on with the banking system? They're borrowing money from the Fed. The Fed has turned the money printer on. They don't actually print money. They just allow the banks to borrow money really cheaply, which then they lend out 45 times and increase the money supply. Thank you to, I don't know, John or Jim on LinkedIn for correcting me on how that process works. But I'm trying to correlate the movement of money from crypto or from fiat into crypto, and then the banks it seems like they've had to get a rescue from the government and borrow almost very cheaply the same amount of money. And suddenly the banks are in trouble. Now, I said before, the banks are not in trouble because of crypto. It's just one of those things. It's not directly like, oh, someone traded Bitcoin, so the bank's in trouble. It's related to the tightening of overall liquidity and the kind of the panic and fear in the markets. The banks are in trouble because they loaded up on what's called hold-to-maturity treasuries for the U.S. and bonds that were paying 1% at the time. I'm not gonna explain it right. They were holding something that when the Feds raised interest rates, it caused them to start losing money. And most banks had an interest rate hedge on those things. If they had an exposure to a 4% interest rate hike that would change the value of those dramatically, they had a hedge against that. And so if they lost money in one, they made money in the other. That's how you hedge. Silicon Valley Bank didn't do that. They had a couple of quarters in which they weren't going to make their profit numbers, and they were going to show a loss. And they can't do that. They can't show a loss because then why? The CEO wouldn't make enough money on the share price appreciation, earnings per share value. And so they sold some of their interest rate swaps, interest rate hedges that were protecting their bonds. And so they basically had a couple, I think $150 billion in unhedged, or I didn't get the number right, 100 billion, 50 billion, whatever it was a lot, an unhedged exposure to interest rate movement. And of course, as soon as that went up, they got hammered. Like I said, that's a whole nother show in depth about banking. What we're doing is telling you, just explaining the story of how the government's coming for your money. And you kind of have to explain the backstory of how the banks are in trouble, where that started with crypto. And like I said, that has been percolating, that theme has been percolating all week on my show. It's kind of leading to what came out yesterday with Coinbase. Where the hell did that article go? Anyway, let's find it here. Because last week I watched it was a big interview on Bloomberg or CNBC. I don't know. I got CNBC on here. I got Crypto Lifer. I guess Crypto Lifer started. Usually we try and roll into his show. Let's see. Where is the Crypto Lifer? There he is. Let's see if we can refresh him. He has not started yet. See, I do this. I go to correct something or bring up something interesting on my screen, and I forget where I was. I need a director, or a intern with big cue cards here. Anyway, let's take this opportunity to check the wires real quick. Lauren Stoddart. Lauren, thank you for tuning in. Lauren dropped a comment in LinkedIn. I've known Lauren many years from the automotive industry that I was in prior. At one point, I called, when Lauren was working for a particular company, I called Lauren the busiest man in the armored vehicle market because I talked to him. Every time I would speak to him or I would speak to someone else that knew him, he was in a different country around the world. In like far from each other, not just like U.S., Canada, but like Uruguay, and then Jordan, and then Ukraine, all these places. It was crazy. Lauren, good to hear from you. Hope all is good with your 6-wheel monster that you're selling to the automotive markets for conversions. That's good to see us getting some traction on LinkedIn. If you're watching on LinkedIn, please drop a comment or two, a question. We'll give them an answer. We are live in the DYOR Project's Telegram today, so we can talk and take questions. I like to have people take questions or ask questions. We're also live on Roku. Roku's been doing well for us. I've got about 100 people now with our app installed. Between the DYOR Media app and the Space Lounge app. There we go. Here's the Coinbase thing. And we're also live on Twitch. We have a viewer on Twitch, Karuba76. Hey, Karuba. Karuba's been a viewer since 2021 or so. An old holder of the old DYOR token. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Let's see, where else are we live today? Pedro, I didn't see your additional links. Let's see, I've got a new, try my new chat thing here. What is your LinkedIn link? Just go to LinkedIn and type Thomas Herlihy, Herlihy, and you'll find it. Hey, you like the new graphics here? It's supposed to be DYOR blue, but I don't know why it didn't work. Pedro says, what's your Roku link? Just search Roku for the DYOR Media. Should be live on it right now. Roku is a amazingly crappy platform as a developer. Oh my word, it just drives you crazy. Anyway, I've digressed. It's supposed to show all my shows, all the history and everything, and they keep having bugs and failures, and I don't know how anyone stays on that platform. Maybe it's because you get decent views. I don't know. Anyway, here what I wanted to talk about was I don't know if you can hear this. Let's see if I can remember how to bring the old
development of ride-sharing apps with Uber and Lyft, et cetera.
There we go.
You don't have a running meter, and you don't need that. And if you required that, it would sort of, take away some of the benefit of the technology of just being able to do it on your.
Where
they talk about
crypto regulations are more spelled out. So even if Coinbase were to succeed and prevail in court, nonetheless, the fact that you have an SEC that could at any time stop it, does it scare away innovators from the United States?
You're damn right it does.
The answer to that, unfortunately.
You're damn right it does. All right. Well, anyway, the SEC came after Coinbase. If you remember where I got sidetracked here a little bit ago, if you remember, Chuck, thank you very much. Just added DYOR. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Chuck just added DYOR network to another Roku device. Woohoo! We're getting there. Chuck, if you could be so happy to take a picture or a screen capture or whatever of the screen that it shows what shows are listed on there and drop it in a DM to me or something like that. Struggling getting that channel to work right because of various problems they've had. Anyway, like I said, I digress. The CEO of Coinbase was on Brian, what's his name? Brian, whatever. I had all this stuff laid out. It was on Bloomberg or CNBC about 2 weeks ago in a big interview. He sat down with him, and it was probably a 15-minute interview, and it was very good for the following reason. He basically said on there, we are willing to work with the SEC. We want to proceed as a regulated entity within the laws, and he talked about doing that. And you could see the look on his face. His face was kind of like a sad puppy dog. Usually you see him, he's very energetic, he's excited, he's like, we got these new products, it's doing well, blah, blah, blah. Even when their stock price is crashing, he's like, yeah, you're right, but it's crypto markets, things pump, then they dump. We're in here for the long term. But he sat there like this. We just want to do things right, and we want to play within the rules. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to. I'm paraphrasing him. And I was like, oh, he knows there's an investigation going on, and he knows the hammer is coming. And it came yesterday. It came with this Wells notice that they're going to pursue enforcement action over securities violations. And I got to tell you, it's going to be a problem. They're going to force most major exchanges out of the U.S. Already that's happening anyway. Countries like Switzerland um, and other countries with proper banking laws saw the value in crypto and are setting up good rules to do this. Never mind Lithuania and Estonia. You can get a license there. If you pass their test to get a license, you're all good. They want to know you're reporting. The money comes in. They want to know you do a KYC. It doesn't. You don't have to be a like in the U.S. You're like, you must be a resident of the U.S. and this kind of stuff. Other countries, they're like, no. As long as you prove you're a real person, give us your passport so we can track things. Fine. Anyway, Coinbase is huge. They trade a lot. They have a huge volume, and they're in trouble because the SEC is going to want their money. The SEC is looking at the best way to describe this is that they're looking at billions of dollars in expense in trying to regulate all these crypto entities. Right now, they regulate the companies that go public, other securities that are not necessarily public companies, but the private companies that issue securities to the public, municipal bonds. Well, they don't regulate municipal bonds so much, but they're involved. They're involved in lots of things, but nothing is about to brace them for what they're about to have and come at them. Because the SEC treats basically anyone in the world that sells anything to an American as a company that needs to be regulated. Say you're a company in the Bahamas, and you want to say we're selling securities to the public, and it's only in the Bahamas. It's only in the Bahamas. We don't want any U.S. citizens doing it. It's not available in the U.S. Well, guess what? The SEC says, so what? Americans can still buy it, and if any of that money winds up in an American's pocket, the SEC claims jurisdiction. And they've been very successful at forcing foreign companies, to register with the SEC because Americans are involved. It's not right at all. It's not right of them. But that's a different thing. Anyway, I'm going back to the title of my show today about the government's coming for you. The government's coming for you because of what I'm talking about with the president's report to Congress and the banks wanting to put a break on crypto, and they want let's not forget the Bank of America has the most patents of any financial institution. American Banker, it's the industry mag for the banking industry. It's been tracking this. The Bank of America is developing all sorts of patents to cover dealing with CDBCs, crypto, and how it's transferred back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to start enforcing those patents soon, and they're going to be in control of a lot of things we don't expect. Side note aside, see, I did that to myself again. Checked LinkedIn, got confused. So they're coming for you because the SEC and other regulation entities, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, and the host of other ones that I fail to remember right now, they have to justify their own budgets every year to Congress. And they have a little rule that generally says the money they seize, they can use to fund their budget. And so Congress loves it when the SEC comes to them and says, we don't need any money from you. We're good. We're taking care of the American people. We got $300 billion of fines out of people out of the last 10 years, and our expenses have been $300 billion. Amazing, isn't it? And so Congress is like, yep, just keep doing your job. You're fine. The Oversight Committee is pretty bored. You never hear much out of the SEC's Oversight Committee because they don't have to worry about budgets. However, with the SEC starting to have to take care of crypto, they're going to have to expand greatly. They're by law required to respond to comments in 20 days. And crypto companies are unfamiliar with registering. And they're unfamiliar with not just the proper way of doing it, but the system. Everything that's been around for a while has a system of doing things. And registering with the SEC requires hiring an experienced lawyer. Doesn't mean it's going to be ridiculously expensive. It just means you need to know someone or hire someone that knows how to do it efficiently. I could claim to know how to do it, go get my law degree, do it, and I would fail. It'd take me years and never work. Or you could hire someone that's experienced in doing it and say, yeah, for $50,000, I can get it registered. No problem. Well, not no problem, but I'll do it for you. There's only so many of those people. And on the SEC side, there's only so many people able to answer questions and raise objections. And they're about to have 20,000 new companies and entities apply for registration. And they're going to, the applications are going to be a mess. So the SEC knows they have a budget request. The U.S. government is reaching its debt ceiling cap and its spending limits, and it's tossing money out the window at banks and everything like that. It's going to have to be reined in. So nobody in Congress right now, especially with the Republicans controlling the House, are interested in hearing somebody say, we need another couple of $1 billion just to do the same job we've been doing for the past 10 years or 20 years. Not at all. There's no appetite for that at all. And if you remember all the budgets start in the House, and the House was turned back over to the Republicans, who have a different view, just this January, different view of crypto than the Democrats. I don't know why it's such a party line thing. I really don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, in crypto, you meet so many people of various ilk, political views on every side, every nationality, every political view you can think of, every lifestyle choice you can think of. It's truly just completely independent of politics at our level, at the user level. But in Washington, D.C., it pretty much divides right down the middle between Republicans and Democrats. And it just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. So the SEC needs to pay for their shit. So, pardon my French. For those of you watching in Quebec. I know that's not French. But that's what we say here in the U.S. Pardon my French when we curse. We could say something like tabernacle. but we don't. I could get doomsday on you and say, the government's coming, but likely with regime change, otherwise known as presidential election in the U.S., or midterm elections, things change. Just like they changed in the House. There were hearings in the House in 2022. Everything's evil. Brought these guys in, I shouldn't say guys, people, ladies and gentlemen, in to testify, one after another. Evil, it's awful, it's terrible. And then the one person at the end who runs a successful crypto company is like, hey, can I speak? You're out of order, sir. Nothing. And then they listen to it. Then when they finally do let him speak, and he says, "No, these are the utilities we're doing it for." All the senators and House of Representatives people would leave to go do other things, and it'd be the one person that asked the question listening. And then when the witness for them would come back in, they'd all come back. It's really political theater. It's ridiculous. This is where we are. The government's coming to get your crypto. Someone told me recently the SEC does have an issue. They do have a problem. It's not just them being evil. They just can't operate. They have to operate with their mandate from Congress. And they also have to operate under settled law. And settled law means that past court cases that said, no, these are securities and these are not securities, apply to them. And a lot of those past law things basically say a lot of the crypto are securities you're offering to the public. So the SEC is kind of forced to, in some cases, regulate by enforcement. But that being said, the government should see that and change the rules, because 50 million Americans are using crypto. Excuse me there. So if the SEC needs to increase their budget to deal with these crypto companies, what does that mean? That means that they're either planning on registering companies, and internally they've said, okay, uh, let's let them register. And one of the other commissioners of the SEC, not the chairman, the Gensler, but the other commissioners who has a different opinion than Gensler, pointed out that they come and regulate with the hammer, and they say you should have registered. But then this nice lady pointed out that no crypto company that's attempted to has passed and been able to register, and they deny everybody, which is problematic because the SEC wasn't set up as a de facto approval. Like only we can be the arbiter of whether your company's allowed to do it. They're set up really to guide people through a registration process, and it turned into a yes/no enforcement thing. And they weren't approving any companies. And that's problematic, isn't it? If they say come register and they don't approve any, where do you go? You're screwed. So that leaves us at the spot that they must have had an internal meeting saying, okay, we need to start approving people. So let's start enforcing and telling people, come register with us. Our budgets will go up. We'll get money from the application process. We will seize money from the people that don't do it correctly. We will fine people in arrears, zillions of dollars, and be able to pay for, our nice offices in all over the world. Or it's a trap. And the SEC doesn't have the investigators to go out and really police all the crypto companies. They go to Coinbase here and look at the news, just like I'm doing here. Where is it? It's over on this side now. And see where they should enforce. So if they're going to have to, like I said, if they're going to have to expand, they need a larger budget. But the poor guys from Coinbase, they really tried. They tried. I don't have an account with them. And their stock price has taken a hit. It got smoked the other day when they announced this. And then the traders came in and snapped up a good deal, as they say. How do I go back in this window? Go back. Like here's a typical article. ARK uses Wells dip to stock up again on Coinbase shares 2 days after selling. Crypto exchange Coinbase shares tumble 16%. All right, so I've given you a summary. If you're watching this on the live, thank you for watching. Not a lot of viewers on the live, trying to get there, but I do tend to get more on the replay. If you're watching this on the replay and you want to talk more about this, it's good to talk about them because you flesh it out kind of when you talk about things. Drop me a comment and I will respond to it, and we'll add it to a future show. See what we got here. And now if you are in the Telegram and want to join in, please let me know. We can talk about any subjects. We've got about 10 minutes to 15 minutes left here before I got to go do the real life things. Let's just put excuse me for a second while I do a little social media in here. I know a lot of people have music. Someone just gave me a comment on my direct messages saying, hey, you need some background music. It's really difficult. I get a copyright claim for the intro music I use, even though I have a license. And all the free background music stuff, it gets claimed on YouTube. Even they say, when you look at the service and it says, nope, all this stuff's good on YouTube, we can use it. You can use it all you want. It's free. There's always some rights group out there and says, nope, we own that little 10-second bit there, and it just messes up your whole YouTube account. Let's see, where is DYOR Live? Where is everyone today? It's Friday. People don't work on Friday anymore. It's called remote work. There's Crypto Mike. Crypto Mike, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Crypto Mike's a Canadian living in Alberta, I believe. Has been a loyal viewer, and I believe Manitoba. That's close. Canada's big. Anyway, there's a lot of news in Canada this week. As many of you know, I split my time between Canada and the U.S. I'm in Chicago right now, but I also, as they say, the significant other lives in Ottawa, so we also live there too. And the president is visiting Canada right now. President Biden is in Ottawa, and he arrived yesterday. He actually spent the night there, and is there again today, which is very odd. Ottawa is not a long flight from Washington, D.C. In the past couple of presidential visits have been just day trips. But he spent the night, and he's old. He's an old guy. But I'm sure one of the topics, not between him and JT, as the Prime Minister of Canada is known as, but between the underlings, is how can we get all the money from crypto? Now, obviously, I have no idea what they're talking about. But the best way to say is that every president visits Canada at some point or another because they have to. It's our best neighbor, and why we have an actual border. I always wondered why we had an actual border between our countries instead of being like the Schengen zone in Europe, where people can just go between countries and nobody cares. But Biden and JT are trying to get the relations better. And you can see that the U.S. Embassy was putting out initiatives to kind of fix the relationships between Canada and the U.S. Unfortunately, the Trump administration, by the very people that they sent to be the ambassadors in Canada, it was abominable. Literally, Canada is on this. Their whole government the past couple of years has been green, 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 green. In fact, it's too much. They're suffering. They're keeping their economy down with a carbon tax. It's a drain. But anyway, green, 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 green. And President Trump sends someone that represents the coal industry to be the ambassador to Canada from the U.S. It's like the biggest thumb in your eye. She was quickly out of there as soon as she got the job at the UN instead. And now Joe Biden has appointed a very nice guy, a very scholarly guy, and a lover of Canada to be the U.S. ambassador. And Ambassador Comin gets out around and travels the whole country. Be sure that the minions are talking about how to get your crypto money. And yes, Mike, I did know that Canada has their own version of the SEC. Not only does Canada have their own version of it, every province does too. And Canada's government is a little bit more decentralized than the U.S. The U.S. Kind of passes federal laws to govern things that affect everybody. And in Canada, the provinces say, hey, we report to the Queen too, or the King, sorry. The King too, so we're going to have our own laws. And so Ontario has their own laws. Nova Scotia has their own laws. Why don't they just say, all right, do whatever they do? British Columbia has their own laws. And it's, so if you're an exchange, you have to register in Ontario, you have to register in British Columbia, you have to register a bunch of places. And it's a pain in the keister. So most people stick to Ontario because that's the largest by population. And then hit BC. And then, sorry, Mike. Then they get to Manitoba. Yeah, it's the regulatory market's vast in Canada. The regulatory market is vast in Canada for this reason. I shouldn't have started to go down this road here, but I will. Because in Canada, your party can be elected to lead the country with a mandate from the people and get a majority in the House and Parliament to pass laws as you wish, uncontested, with only about 35% of the vote. It's the biggest joke in the world. In the US, we fight over 1%. When it's 49.5% to 50.5% in the national vote, and then they argue those, like, oh my God, he's not my president, this type of stuff. So woe is me, and people are so upset that for every one vote for their guy, another person voted for another guy plus one vote. In Canada, literally 70% of the people voted for the other guy. Imagine being the winning guy imagine the president of the United States wins, but 70% of the nation voted for someone else. Not just they have a multi-party system in Canada, so the other votes get divided up between two or three other parties, and they don't have a runoff election to force a majority vote. In the U.S., like a good example is in Chicago, the mayor's election. The mayor's election, they had 20 people running in it. And so the largest was like 30%, the next was 20%, and the current mayor only got 15%. She's out. They take the top two and have a runoff election. So that forces a majority vote. And eventually, everybody that votes either voted for the majority or voted for the minority. An actual majority, not a plurality. I don't even know if I'm getting those words right. Anyway, the point is that when that means parties can win and run the table on laws without checks and balances. And that happens in the provinces, and it happens at the federal level. And you get bad laws, and you get too much regulation. You get provinces with strict regulation, federal, and they don't talk to each other because the one's a liberal, one's a conservative, blah, 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 blah. I digress. In countries where people can win and say they have a mandate from the people, when they only had 30% of the people vote for them, it's somewhat ridiculous. Chuck, thank you very much for sending me the pictures of my Roku channel. It appears to be sort of correct. It's supposed to have a line saying latest episodes, and it doesn't. If you click the individual shows, the Audit Chain shows, or Wrecked, or Space Lounge, it just goes into the season listing. It doesn't show what's new. Like, here are the new episodes. Why it makes you click through these things. And everybody else is supposed to get it right, and I can't get it programmed. Anyway, thank you, Chuck, for sending me that. I appreciate it. The fact that I'm on someone's TV in their house is something else. When DYOR was really popular last year, the token, not my media channel, just still not popular. We had guys watching us on TV in Australia. Shout out to Ryan King. And I'd get pictures from people actually all over Australia. Me on their TV. It's interesting. I can see it, if I had 1 million viewers or something like that, and you'd be like, oh, whatever. I get 100 people watching my video over time. And live, it's only ever between 5 and 10. So it's interesting. It's really interesting. Mike says, sorry I made you go down the rabbit hole. No, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. And he says, made me learn more, and that's what I'm here for, too. I like to have these discussions so we can learn more. All right, let's go check a little social media real quick and see what's going on. Once again, I'm going to drop Chuck saying, just added the DYOR network to another Roku device. This new system I have for putting comments up here it's just wonderful. It's just fabulous. These little things doing this. I do all of this by myself. All of the virtual studio, the prep, the streaming, all that type of stuff. If you could see my apartment here, it's just one big green screen. And so when the little things come out that make your life just that much better, it's wonderful. All right, so I hit on the government today, took a few questions. I'm going to go a little longer today because I did want to get to what the AMA was yesterday. So if people are listening either in the in the live or the replay, the primary sponsor for our show here, who I've been covering with my microphone unceremoniously, is Audit Chain here. And Audit Chain, if you haven't heard me go on about them before, as they brought the DYOR Media Group on to help them do their AMAs, produce their programs, and have better social media interaction. And then I learned about them. They did an AMA with us in the Space Lounge with Carmen and Robert and I about a year ago when they were getting ready to launch their token. And I was like, okay, another token. Interesting. But then I was like, wait a minute, they really don't care about their token. What they care about is reforming financial reporting. And I was like, wait, what? What they did is they developed software that is in two parts. One, integrates with corporate accounting systems. So a company can take their accounting system and generate financial reports that can have the blockchain validate them mathematically and cryptographically. And I try to be very specific when I talk about this because it's detailed and nuanced. And I am not a professional in financial reporting or accounting in any means, but I do understand accounting a lot from owning businesses in the past. But the financial reporting end of it is all new to me. And of course, the accounting and how large companies work. Anyway, and they're able to go in with their other software called their Pacioli, Luca and Pacioli. It's the guy's name. Luca Pacioli was the inventor of the double entry accounting system in Italy long ago, or I should say in Venezia. Actually, I have no idea if he was Venetian or Roman. Anyway, and their Pacioli system sits on validating nodes, and they have a network of validating nodes that they're implementing right now around the internet, that when you publish your financial reports, it can read those things because they all use XML now, these financial reports, standardized around the world, and can go in and see what humans can't. And when I became aware of it, I was like, oh, this is really good because I do know the financial reporting industry is, messy because people hire so many people. They hire financial analysts, they hire PR people, they hire lawyers to put together their financial reports and publish them, and they manage it like a PR story. And just the general rule in PR and the news media and that type of stuff is if you have to manage a story, it means you're hiding something. If your CEO or head of your CFO of a company can't get on and just sit in front of reporters and answer any question candidly, it means they're either hiding something or they've been brought up in a way to naturally be biased, to try and hide things. And like, ooh, you can't say one bad thing or anything like that. And when you do, I used to listen to analyst calls a long time ago in another life. And when occasionally you would hear a guy that was completely honest and refreshing. It was so refreshing. You're like, did he just answer that? And guys that would say, yeah, we screwed that product launch up. Yep. It was just, it was like an episode of The West Wing when Jed Bartlett admitted screwing the guys with the milk tax. And people were like, okay, he's so honest. And it was very refreshing. And you're like, wow. And the analysts reacted and their numbers were down, but they're like, no, the guy was honest with us. Their stock didn't tank. And then I listened to other ones in which it was clear. It's like listening to a politician that doesn't answer the question on the news. They say something else and beat around the bush. And you're like, ooh, it feels awkward. And it's like this guy's not answering the questions. And they just hammered his price. And the simple question was, how much did people pay you this quarter? How much cash did you get in? And the guy's like, well, our earnings per share were up and blah, 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 blah. And the guy's like, no. How many people used their credit card or paid cash to buy your product? What's the number? The guy was just, well, earnings per share and our overall income was up. Their overall income was up because they sold one of their factories and then did a leaseback transaction. And so they raised $200 million from selling this big factory and this type of stuff. And then they leased it back from the owner. So they got a big infusion from cash. So they showed a profit. But they weren't selling any more goods. And eventually they went out of business, of course. Anyway, so that mentality and talking about audit chain is they bring transparency to that. Because if you implement audit chain's protocol on your corporate side, it reports very honestly, and the results are what they are. However, if you just want to use their Pacioli reporting system or validating nodes, you can go to the SEC. And yesterday we did it live on the air at the AMA. I wish I had the queue lined up for it. We went over Silicon Valley Bank's report, their financials on the air. And what would have taken a fleet of financial analysts to go through their reports and pick out what was wrong? Took Jason Myers of Audit Chain about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes to do. And what's interesting is as it's applying the various tax rules, it showed it online. Mike, hit up the my YouTube or the Audit Chain YouTube channel for the AMA from yesterday, On the Brink, episode 18. You can watch the. It's about an hour long. At the beginning part, they talks about Silicon Valley Bank, and at the end of the show, we took some viewer questions, and we put it out there. Someone DM'd me, said, "Hey, can you just do Tesla live on the air?" And we're like, "Sure." Jason ran it through the Pacioli validating node, went to the SEC, grabbed I think it was the January filing from Tesla. And lo and behold, there were 45 errors, 44, 45 errors in their financial reports. There were 29 calculation errors. I might have this backwards. It's either 20 or 29. Calculation errors, which things just didn't add up. And it wasn't like, oh, they got the decimal wrong there. It didn't add up to be like, it was billions. It's like, that's not, I'm sorry, SVP was billions. Silicon Valley Bank was billions. Tesla had a lot of other calculations issues where on the balance sheet by definition is supposed to what, ladies and gentlemen? Balance. Yes, it's supposed to balance. Did it balance? No, it didn't. No, because they had calculation errors. And they also didn't, you're required by the SEC when you file things to file disclosures. For basically every major category. So in your disclosure says on it, we've reported our net income as honestly as we could. We don't know of anything else that could affect this number, so we believe it to be true. There's variations of that. Or you file, this is our number. We're unsure of it, our net income, because the currency devaluation in Venezuela is so volatile, where our factory is. We're really unable, or where our main sales outlet is, we're unable to get accurate sales pricing and currency. It's a get out of jail free clause. And even if you have nothing, it says, here's our disclosure. We have nothing to disclose. We're good. So you have to file these things. And what happens when they don't file them? It generally means they're what? They're hiding something, right? And Tesla had either 20 or 29 disclosures that they didn't file. And not just on categories about, I don't know, I can't even make up one, some low-level line item on a balance sheet. But a high end, like their net income, their interest rate exposure from borrowing on bonds and stuff like that, whatever they were. It was a lot. And all of those errors, this is the interesting part, all of those errors escaped the financial analysts that work for Tesla, the financial analysts they hire at external companies, their auditor, public auditor, I don't know which one of the big four it is. It escaped their audit committee. All these companies have audit committees that are in charge of making sure the audits are good and that the company is participating in accurately, thoroughly, and transparently. And these errors come out. The errors in the banking industry, the SVP, Signature Bank, Silvergate Bank, were just horrid. It's like I can't even believe it how awful it was. Let's actually try and find that here. Let's see. Open. It's over here. YouTube. And we did it live on the air. And I'm going to cut that clip out in social media. What the hell is this thing? Sorry about that, ladies and germs. All right, let's get the chain. Using a new screen capture technology here, and it's all right, here's the episode. Crypto Mike says, I watch the dude on your screen sometimes. He's good at TA. That'd be Pedro Garcia. All right, let's see if we can find the Tesla.
Hello, guys. Hello.
Let's see, where is Tesla here?
User interface, it will be a cleaner interface designed for a user, not for a developer. But it shows you the good part of
point. That's also complex too, because it's it's a, how should I say it? It is a virtualization orchestrator. 29 calculation inconsistencies.
All right, here's where we do
this
it.
before you explain it here.
Let's back up to where we
calls every week,
started.
Referring to
So we did this live on the air yesterday.
But they need to learn action.
you have to go, but super cool stuff, Jason. You're the man. I'll
In fact, their last
give me one second here.
All right, here's where it here's where the Tesla part starts. This was so interesting having this be done
Yes,
live.
we can see it.
okay,
This is the
let's pull up
Edgar
Tesla.
filing.
and let's go to their 10Ks and Qs. In fact, their last K was filed on end of January.
Right, so that's correct. It's their January.
Again, for those who
23.
are watching, we're not going through the actual numbers here. This is the purpose of this is just to go through a demonstration of submitting a machine-readable financial report filed with the SEC through Pacioli to detect where all of the inconsistencies are. Right?
Lauren, thank
So
you
I'm
very
gonna
much
go
for watching. I
back
appreciate it.
and share this screen, which is our Pacioli user interface. This is not what we're going to launch commercially. This is for the dev team. It's owned by them. This is what they use for development testing.
While you're doing that, we've got a comment from Telegram, one of our viewers. Sorry, I have to go, but super cool stuff, Jason. You're the man. I'll share this event live around the internet for everyone to see.
All right, so what you see going on in the background here is the Pacioli system
Open up the
doing its thing.
document. Let's copy that.
I want to reiterate what Jason just said. What you're looking at is the developers portal.
You see,
for Pacioli.
all the green things are. It's applying all the different rules
User interface
for generally accepted accounting principles in the U.S. and other, as Jason says, taxonomies.
But it shows
And I'm going to skip through to the 2 minutes later. It's still running the rules, all of which would take a human
Hold on, you got to restart
probably
that
a
your
week to
Wi-Fi
go
dropped.
through each one. So that's why they have fleets
We
of them.
also filed a Pacioli Luca
Let's see where the report comes up here.
It is a Vert Plus.
Here it is.
All right,
And I know you can't see it
it's
that
just
well here.
scrolling that page is doing it.
but-
Go ahead.
Have you ever, as I always say, have you ever seen red in money or accounting mean anything good? No!
29
No, you don't. You don't see anything good. Nothing good comes from red in crypto, or I should say in accounting and money.
that were excluded.
Not in crypto either. Nobody likes red candles. But in here, you can say it as 20,
Excluded because
29
you're
calculation
incorrect or
errors,
forgot to
20 reports not filed. And so the trick is now to figure out where those calculation errors are and go over them. Guess what? It does that too.
Disclosures. This is
Here,
the rule
and this
that
list
changes
goes
the
through each one, and you can click on
That's the
them.
rule that
Well,
we
that
are-
shows the code behind it.
And
But you can click on one, and it'll
let's
take you
conclude
to,
we didn't detect
which I
the
believe
disclosure
Jason
here.
does right here,
Back to a calculation.
to the calculation.
This is a list of all of the inconsistent calculations. It's a total of 29 of them.
Anything major
In
that
this
stands
case,
out to your reporting eye?
Takes a little longer to do that, but here's a concept. Current income tax expense benefit in disclosure income taxes, right? Or provision for income tax. It was calculated as current income tax expense benefit equals current federal tax expense benefit
Gets a
plus
little in weeds
deferred
here,
state
but
and local
see
income
what the number
tax
difference
expense
is.
benefit plus current foreign tax expense or benefit, right?
They look the same.
These are the inconsistencies here. So these are rules that are run.
And if you could
to
see
determine
them,
that
you could see them there on this when you go watch it yourself. The line items in there are like 62 million, 40 million, and to be honest, it's not always in the negative. Like companies don't make accounting errors always negative. Big ones always seem to be negative, but they make plenty of errors for the positive too. So a lot of times, the company has two major errors. They're each for $1 billion. Like, oh my God, $2 billion worth of errors. Well, one may be negative and one may be positive. So in the end, their earnings per share are the same. The numbers are right. They just didn't get it right. I believe Jason did. Oh, Jason, you got Rose. I don't know how to unmute Rose here. Let's try that. Hey, I think I did it. Well, that was amazing. Getting Rose to work right is always difficult. Anyway, like I was saying, so counting errors are sometimes made in the positive and the negative. Although we all know that whenever it's important, it's in the negative. It's like your own checkbook. When you make an error in you're watching your own money, is it ever in the positive? No, never. Is that, honey? Did you know we had an extra $10,000 this month? Oh, well, no, I meant minus 10,000. We're bankrupt and we can't buy groceries. Yeah, so that's that. Anyway, that's a great episode, and it's a great example of why I pursued Audit Chain to be a sponsor of this show and to do more work for them. Because of all these things in crypto, very few of them have an actual usage, a real utility. Lots of fake utilities, like, oh, our utility is that we spread out your earnings over 5 different reward pools, something like that. It's just moving money around from pocket A to pocket B. This is a real world utility, literally, and their validating nodes use their Audit Chain token as their governance token, as a voting method, as a staking method to run the validating nodes. And you can earn money running a validating node, and they're going to, which normally involves spinning up a Linux server somewhere, setting up a node. Not an easy thing to do if you've never done one. But they've gone ahead and done a partnership with a company called Blocks.io. And Blocks.io is a like DigitalOcean. It's a smaller virtualization group, and they're going to be able to do a 2 or 3 click setup, and you can run your own, stake your own AUD and run a node and earn money from validating these types of things. So that's going to be a good thing. And so there, in essence, what we have here, and why I go on at length from this, on the same show that I talk about the government saying that there's no good utility in crypto, What you're looking at here is revolutionary. And it's a crypto project that is is reviewing and taking over for what the SEC can't do by going through financial reports and finding the errors for traditional companies. And the U.S. passed a law saying the 2002 Data Financial Transparency Act, which covers a lot of things. But one of the major areas it covers is that all the entities in the U.S. that file municipal bonds are going to have to report in this machine-readable format now. Before, they would send in piles of PDFs. And optical character recognition would get it all wrong. It was a disaster. Or they'd use 20 different electronic formats that weren't compatible with each other. But now they're all going to have to use the same standard format. So you'll be able to go in and check on a city's. That's right. You could go check on the city of Chicago's accounting system and whether they're reporting accurately. It's going to be a revolution because city accounting right now is just a total disaster for every city. And the audits of the cities have massive get out of jail free clause, sections like we tried and don't hold us to account if the city goes bankrupt. And there's 80,000 of them in the U.S. And the guys from Audit Chain are going over to the United Kingdom next week because the United Kingdom's getting ready to impose one of those laws to get financial reporting in order. And that will do the same thing to the U.S. and make every level of government that issues bonds, which is almost every entity out there, all your roads, sewers, everything. Those are all municipal bonds. They will have to report in this machine-readable format. So you'll be able to go in and say, hey, the city of Chicago is lying on their financials when the mayor came out and said, everything's great. Look, they've got a $15 billion error on their financial reports. So either the mayor doesn't know that there's an error and the people told her everything's great, or the mayor's hiding something. Which is it? Both of them are problems. And if you use their Luca software, in, like, say, the city of Chicago would use the Luca software, it wouldn't let them put out reports that had any errors on it. You'd run your accounting through it. It's very complicated behind that. I'm not going to try to explain it. But when you said, all right, let's release our information and click the button, it would be like, nope, still errors. And so you would only, by the software forcing you to fix all your problems first, it allows the organization to kind of work backwards through. Say, hey, we're getting an error on this, and call the right person. Fix it. That person works in this department. We don't want to get a call from those guys and the boss anymore. So let's institute a process that cleans that up and allows us to figure it out correctly every month. So it will fix the accounting departments. Anyway, I could go on forever about that. Literally forever and ever about that. But that's our sponsor for the show, and they've been very good to me. And I'm looking to do more with Audit Chain. Check them out at auditchain.finance. Their YouTube channel is Audit Chain. Their videos are on my Roku channel and my Amazon Fire channel. I don't have them on my YouTube channel. Go to their YouTube channel, Audit Chain, for that. And listen to their On the Brink podcasts. They're a lot of them are very technical. But our most recent demonstration of the software showing how we ran Tesla's numbers live and found errors. It was a gem. I tweeted it out. Tweeted Elon Musk too, but he didn't respond to me. Can't believe that, can you? All right, before I go today, let's do a few more. Look through social media a little bit more. Mike, thank you very much for your comment. I want to thank you for being so awesome. I love being awesome. I'm also going around checking on our crypto fam. So you good, bro? I started it in the mill room. That's right. I do remember that. Well, let's get this. Let's see. Let's get my new system going well. Mike, spread the word, spread the gospel. I'm going to try and do these shows more in the morning. And of course, people want to hear about topics. Obviously, I with a real life on the side. You don't have a lot of time to prepare for this. I'm good at the tech end of it. I'm bad and lousy at the getting content ready in time. So I'm going to try and pick a week and cover the same topic all week so I can kind of blather on, and you can kind of get the gist of it depending on what day you tune in. Oh, the audit chain commercial is running now. I love it. Anyway, as we see up there from Telegram, this is from Mike. Hi, Striking. I want to thank you for being so awesome. Also going around checking in on the crypto fam. I started it in the military. Oh, in the military finance room. Anyway, thank you for watching, Mike. Let's give a quick check to the Twitter DMs, which I tend to get a lot of messages from. Clear that off. Pedro and Chuck, thanks for watching. Crypto Lifer's going at his show. Oh, I have no idea what video just came on behind me there. I missed the end of oh, Thomas. Oh my word. I just screwed this up left and right. Sigh. Let's just leave it at that there. when $1. Apoptosis, thanks for joining us here in the DYOR room. Ask when the DYOR's price will be $1. They need to lose 5 zeros. That's not going to happen. It would be an amazing thing. Amazing thing to lose 5 zeros. Small investments would be worth millions. All right, I was checking Twitter here real quick. It's Twitter, as many of you know, I call it the sinkhole of the internet. It really is. It's just awful. But the crypto market lives there. Let's see. Carmen Crypto says, see if I can read this. Tom, I need to learn how to read the results screen for the audit chains. Take my hand and slowly walk me through it. I will do that, Carmen Crypto. As I say, join us in the audit chain room. Been trying to have Carmen on my show. Carmen and I have done, I don't know, tons of shows over time. But Carmen lives in the Pacific time zone. In the Pacific time zone, which means it's 2 hours earlier than I am. Right now it's 10 a.m. She's there at 8. I'm on today about an hour later than normal. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see who else is talking about this. Oh, that's my tweet. Don't need to put my stuff up. Let's see what comes up here. Thank you to the DYOR project. Striking Balls hosted Audit Chains AMA while they found problems with Silicon Valley Bank and Tesla's financial reports filed with the SEC. Things the auditors missed. Amazing tech for doing your own research. That's right, DYOR crew. That is correct. Like I said, this new overlay thing. You just go onto a Twitter website and click something and it shows up on my screen. How awesome is that? I see a couple other things here. It makes me want to talk about them. I'm going to hold off going to hold off today. It's Friday. Got a light viewership. I've been on for an hour and a half now. Yeah, about an hour and 15 minutes, actually. That's long enough for me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in today, whether you are on the live or on the replay. All I can do is tell you to do your own research. Hopefully, I'm here to help you do that. Oh, that was a spammer. Get distracted by spammers here when you do things live. Like I said, it's right behind me. Live. We are live. Anyway, to my viewers, thank you very much. To my new viewers that would come, please subscribe to this. Do need help getting my subscribers up. Turn those notifications on, as they say, on YouTube. For those of you who watched on Twitch, I can only say, man, thank you so much. Twitch is not good to us, but we've been trying with Twitch. We've been trying, but Twitch, you got to have like a hula hoop on and wear a bikini in a pool, and then you get 1,000 viewers. Give out good information. We got another guy, spammers. On a promotion of your channel, we'll bring you viewers. To you promoters out there, I want actual viewers that want to interact with me. I don't want just numbers and children recruited to press buttons on their phone in the Philippines to get numbers. I want interaction. So if you can bring me real live viewers that want to talk about things on the air and understand these things, then that would be great. Other than that, no, go away. To my LinkedIn viewers, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Crypto Lifer is on right now, and I'm working with their team to just be able to raid their channel when I'm done and send the viewers over there. If you want to learn about crypto technical analysis, something I'm not good at all, go watch the Crypto Lifer. He has a great show every day. He talks at length about 30 or 40 projects every day. It's a lot of information, but you learn something new every day, and it's little nuggets of information. If you have a little cash around, you make small little day trades every day that you can follow through and do on your own. Generally, you make a few bucks. And Crypto Mike says, can't wait for the next Wrecked. Yeah, I didn't do one this week because I've been doing these shows and I only have so much time to do it. Next week, I've got a lot of content for Wrecked. My rug ruined and wrecked. I'm watching a whole side chain, exploding at the speed of light, and that's going to be a good one for Wrecked. Won't be a rugged, but it'll be a Wrecked for sure. Been some good hacks recently too. Again, cross-chain bridges getting hacked. Love it. I don't love the fact that people lose money, but I love the fact that lessons can be learned, as I say. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you to your stuff today. Thank you for joining in. See you next week. Be there.